Hello, you are most welcome. I'm teacher Ivan from Wuna Educational Services. You are most welcome to our third lesson of density and relative density. Today we shall be looking at factors that affect density. What are the factors that affect density? There are two major factors that affect density. One is temperature. How does temperature affect density? Now, when you heat a substance, its molecules expand. When the molecules expand, it leads to increase in the volume. And remember, density equals to mass over volume, meaning the mass of a substance is constant. It does not change. Assuming the mass of a substance is 6 kilograms, and initially it had a volume 1 of 2 meters cubed, and you increase the temperature of this substance, which will increase its volume from V1 to V2, which is 3 meters cubed. So the increase in the volume from 2 meters cubed to 3 meters cubed will lead to a decrease in density. That is, if the volume was 2, we could divide by 2 meters cubed to get a density of 3 kilogram per meter cubed. But since the volume increased from 2 to 3, then the new density will be 6 kilograms over 3 meters cubed, which will give us 2 kilogram per meter cubed. So you notice that the temperature that caused the expansion of the molecules of the substance led to increase in volume, which in return decreased the density. So that is how temperature affects density. Increase in temperature leads to increase in volume, which leads to a decrease in density. Factor number 2 is pressure. And this only affects the density of gases. Why? Because gases are compressible. Meaning that when the temperature of a given mass of a gas is increased, the gas molecules become squeezed, and hence the volume occupied by these molecules decrease. And a decrease in volume will lead an increase in density, because volume is inversely proportional to density, meaning a decrease in volume increases density, and an increase in volume decreases density. So since the gas molecules are compressible, whenever you exert a pressure on a gas, its molecules get squeezed or compressed, meaning the volume decreases, which in turn leads to an increase in density. Those are the two major factors that affect density. However, we have another factor, that is the concentration of atoms, whereby in some materials atoms are closely packed, such as in solids. Thus, a material made of atoms of a lower atomic number is heavier than that of a higher atomic number, and this is because the atoms are larger or more spread apart, hence a smaller density. Remember, when they are more spread apart, it leads to increase in volume, which in turn decreases the density. Then the fourth one is the change in state. When a substance changes its state, its volume changes. And since mass is constant, then the density automatically changes because volume has changed. So the change in volume will cause a change in density. So those are the 4 factors that affect density. And maybe we can also look at the uses of density. How useful is density to a physicist? Density can be used to identify materials, since materials have specific density. For instance, if you have a colorless liquid which you don't know whether it's water or any other liquid, use its density to determine what it is. If it is 1,000 kilogram per meter cubed, then the liquid will be automatically water. 2, density can also be used to determine the purity of a material. And I will take the example of still water. We know that the density of water is 1,000 kilogram per meter cubed. So if we have water and its density is less or more than 1,000, then that water is impure or it contains impurities. The same applies to metallic substances, because we know that the density of lead is 11,300. So if it is more or less, then that is not pure lead, and so on. Number 3 is that the density can help us to choose the right gases for filling balloons. Yes, we shall compare the densities of various gases and choose the lightest that can be used to fill the balloon. And lastly, density can also be useful in finding the volume of a substance. That is, if you are finding the volume of a substance whose mass is known, since density equals to mass over volume, therefore, if you know the mass and you know the density, you can automatically get the volume of that, whereby if we cross multiply, we shall get density times volume equaling to mass, and divide by density, such that the volume equals to mass over density. So if the mass and the density of a substance are known, we can determine its volume. So those are the uses of density. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to all our YouTube channels from Wuna Educational Services, which include Teacher Ivan's online class, Una e-learning platform and Una Kids platform. Hit the notification button so that you get notified whenever we have new videos. Otherwise, thank you. Meet you in the next video.